2018, the Kenyan economy has been at pains to rebound from the slump witnessed in 2017. If official statistics are anything to go by, this rebound could well be underway. Growth in the first half stood at 6% compared to 4.7% in the same period in 2017. But not all that can be counted counts, and many have been left questioning the inclusivity of Kenya's growth. One of the oft-cited grievances by ordinary citizens about 2018 has been a heavy tax burden as the government sought to strengthen its revenue-raising capacity. Debate on and the passage of the Finance Bill of 2018 split Parliament right through the middle as legislators grappled with balancing revenue mobilization demands on one hand and popular interest on the other.
Honourable members, will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay?
But what was before the House was the memorandum of the President in exercise of his powers, Article 115 and the Standing Order, and asked the House to do a number of things in the Finance Bill. And one of the reasons why the framers of the Constitution introduced Article 115 of the Constitution was to protect the citizens that in their millions elect the President as the CEO. In the event Parliament becomes rogue.
Among the proposals in the President's memorandum was the introduction of 8% value-added tax on petroleum products, which has since occasioned a rise in prices at the pump. If this already feels unbearable, a number of new taxes are set to take effect in January 2019, notably the presumptive tax which targets bringing small and medium-sized businesses into the tax net. Traders have expressed concerns about the potential impact of this new tax on the operating environment.
Nchi imetax wanabiashara zaidi, wanabiashara ndio wameongeza taxes kwa mafuta, wamekuja tena kwa biashara zetu, hatutakubaliana na biashara hii na hii taxes ambayo wanataka kutuongezea sasa.
We are actually not ready. And I feel it violates some of the canons of taxation, that is especially the canon on certainty. Because if it's actually being administered from January, that is too close. We should have been given enough time to make adjustments.
Already gharama ya maisha iko juu sana. Tunalipia rent, tunalipia tax. Juu kitambo the commodity ifike ingie kwa biashara yako, umelipia rent hizo vitu sote. Ushalipia mpaka permit deduction sote. So akiendelea kutudeduct, wanataka tuende wapi jamani?
It was not without reason that the government adopted measures that would inflict pain on ordinary citizens. Faced with a staggering budget of 3 trillion shillings and a gaping deficit of 559 billion shillings, the government is under pressure to boost revenue collection.
If you don't tax it, you have a lower tax base, then you don't progress. You don't progress. So you can't stop a tax and then you need resources to fund because another country is not taxing.
The pressure on the government to raise domestic revenue raising has to a large extent been driven by concerns about the country's rising debt. As at the close of September 2018, Kenya's debt stood at 5.1 trillion shillings, having almost tripled since the Jubilee government took office in 2013. The rise in public debt saw the introduction of a bill by Mgwen Member of Parliament Alex Kosgei to have public debt capped at 6 trillion shillings.
Kenya's national debt presently stands at Kenyan shillings 5 trillion, and this means that every Kenyan man, woman and child currently owes approximately 120,000 shillings, and this figure is rising. So every baby born today has a debt of 120,000 shillings. So having a clear debt ceiling is necessary. It is best practice that happens in other countries.
Despite growing concern about the country's appetite for debt, the government has maintained the position that Kenya is at no risk of debt distress.
We believe that our debt position remains sustainable, The IMF also believes that our debt is sustainable.
Lakini lazima tutafute pesa kwa sababu zetu hazitoshi, ndio tuhakikishe ya kwamba the needs of the people are also met. But we must borrow, which I agree, in a manner that we are sure we can actually service the debt that we incur.
Beyond Kenya's fiscal position, the monetary policy side stole the headlines in 2018 when the country's access to the International Monetary Fund's standby facility expired, raising fears of Kenya's vulnerability to external pressures, notably foreign exchange volatility. The central bank also came under the spotlight over the management of the shilling, which the IMF assessed to have been overvalued, claims the CBK has vehemently denied. The CBK has also shrugged off calls for greater transparency on its intervention in the foreign exchange market.
In our own calculations support the view that there is no fundamental misalignment reflected in our exchange rate. And we have also reiterated that the Kenya shilling reflects the currency's true value, the true fundamental value. We actually do not comment on details of FX interventions until we judge that that information is no longer market sensitive. That is important to understand. It's no longer market sensitive. And this is in keeping with practices of other central banks.
In 2019, Kenya will be looking to retire the 5-year tranche of its first Eurobond issued in 2014, a development which is bound to necessitate more borrowing. Beyond this, however, a number of questions are bound to shape the economy in 2019. Will the stock market rebound and offer investors better returns than it has this year? Will Parliament cede its position on the caps on lending rates and hopefully unlock credit to the private sector? With the ambitious spending plans and revenue falling below target between July and September 2018, how will the government tame its appetite for debt without hurting spending on development projects? This and many others will be the key focus in 2019. Julian Samboko, NTV.